This week, something impossibly cute from Japan, land of the rising sun. It's Suzuki's Ignis. This is Suzuki's Ignis. This cute little car is in fact just a high riding hatch. Rather hopefully, Suzuki have given us approach, departure and ramp over angles as if you're going to take a front wheel drive car with 66 kilowatts off-road. You're just not. It's a crossover vehicle and it's mainly for city use. It comes in two models, the GX and the GXL. It did start with 3 models when it was first released a couple of years ago, but it continues now with just 2 models. There is a base model, the GX, and it's a manual, and it starts at $18,990. The Auto at $19,990, and then, as I say, this top model for $20,990. The upgrade styling gave us a new grille, which I think looks kind of cool with these little kind of teeth details, and the top model has projector LED headlights. It's also got this 1.2 litre 4-cylinder engine, and that's standard across the range. It's a fairly compact engine bay, not a lot to see down there, and as you can see, it's a naturally aspirated engine. The top model also comes standard with these 16-inch alloy wheels, metallic-y graphite colour, and the top model also gets smart entry. Press it once to lock, once again to unlock, and a button inside to start it. And there's a space saver in the boot too, so none of that nasty tyre repair stuff nonsense. The seats fold down, and there's about 264 litres with the seats up. With the seats down, that expands to 516 if you just pile it up to the windows, and over 1100 litres if you pile it right to the top. Interior space is actually quite decent, but there's quite a big gap between the top of the door and the top of the ceiling, and I just found it quite hard to get in. There is a surprising amount of legroom, although my legs are almost against the seat in front. That's still much more than I'd expect for a car this size. There's a couple bottle holder here in the back and further cup holders in the doors. The front seat has a little bit more space, and this car is set up really for just 2 people, in my opinion. You're in no doubt once you get into the front that it's an entry-level car. The plastic is all quite hard. Everywhere you look is acres of really hard plastic. But to my surprise, there is climate control air conditioning. It is just a single zone though, and below that you've got controls for the fresh airflow and the rest of the air conditioning controls, including demist. Below that you've got a spot for your auxiliary and USB, and an outlet for power. And in my case, I've got this powering my Navman Sensor XL dashcam. The screen is beautifully set out. There's even navigation, which is just extraordinary in a car this price. The fabric is this rather industrial looking, hard wearing synthetic. And the carpets, well, they're not exactly luxurious either. The CVT is very easy to lock accidentally into low, and I've been doing that ever since I picked the car up. I'll grab it, put my hand around the button to put it in drive, but drag it all the way back to low instead, so it's screaming its head off. This car is not a country cruiser. It is basically a car that you'd use for city chores. So let's do some city chores. There you go, I've done it again. I've accidentally locked this in low. What's it like to drive on a country lane? Well, I'm only going very slow. I'm doing 40-45 kilometers an hour because this road is just incredibly narrow. And you certainly notice that the suspension, though it's McPherson struts at the front and a torsion beam at the back, is not terribly sophisticated. Let's see what it's like on a suburban road. We're now doing 60 kilometers an hour. According to my Navman, it's 58 kilometers an hour. So the speedo is a little bit out. The ride is decent. The steering feels a little bit kind of dead. And I suspect it's because they're such narrow tyres and little wheels. With our city driving only, and the odd bit of freeway of course, we're at 7.4 litres per 100 kilometres, and that's quite a way above 4.7 that Suzuki claims for this car. We're now at 80 kilometres an hour. Fuel consumption's dropped to 6.8 litres per 100 kilometres. I brought you here just to see what it's like in a couple of very tight turns. So, round and around. Put that down there. Over bumpy roads, you do really feel the bumps. It's dampened slightly. I've been around these bends in some really fast cars that handle extremely well, and there's no doubt that you're in an entry-level car. But it is still fun. All right, so the reason I brought you here is to see what it's like when you take off. Remember, I said this is one of those older-fashioned CVTs that don't have that step-up ratio. So indicate, and it's screaming its head off. And we're at 80. So while acceleration isn't too bad, it does get a little bit breathy. Now we've got a 9.4 metre turning circle. Let's see what it's like going in here. Yes, manages that no problem at all.
Hi, what can I get for you?
Just a large skim flat white, if you wouldn't mind, and that's the lot.
Large skim flat white, anything else?
No, thank you.
Drive-through, thank you.
Oh well, getting around these tight corners. Now this is a particularly nasty, tight set of bends. No problem so far. Okie dokie. Thank you. Doesn't seem very happy about it. Glad I didn't place a bigger order. Thank you. All right. Oops. Another really tight bend. And we're out. I've already mentioned that some of the active safety gear is missing, so no active lane guidance, no active cruise control, no autonomous emergency braking, because there's no camera up here behind the rear vision mirror. There's not even any automatic wipers. The noise is not too bad, though I find the continual change of revs up and down, just droning away, to be quite annoying. By the way, we've got speed limiter, which will come in handy in some of those areas in Sydney CBD where the speed limit is just 40 kilometres an hour, because they've dropped it all to protect the children. But I do have normal cruise control, which I've just activated. There's other features on the steering wheel, like the phone answering buttons and so forth, and that voice control. The voice control you can use when you've got your smartphone hooked up to operate your Siri and your Google on your Android phone. In other words, this is good at being a city car. It's not good at being a Grand Tourer. It's not good at being a sports car. It's not good at being a muscle car, because that's not what it is. It's not designed to go around corners at warp 10. It's not even designed to go at warp 10. It's meant to be economical, small, easy to park, and cheap. So to show you how easy this is to park, I've come to our local post office. This car park is appalling at the best of times. I have a feeling posh people park here to take the bus into town. Now, look at that. That's probably the easiest park I have done in a long time. That is about as easy as a park is likely to get. Doesn't take up the entire space, and look how much space there is either side. That's all this week from Suzuki Ignis. As always, if you've liked the film, leave a comment, hit like, and above all, just there to subscribe.